How's it going, everyone? So who is going to win between India and China? Two juggernauts, massive populations, massive amounts of money. They're joining, guess what? Russia. All part of the BRICS, and especially China. They're actually fighting against the petrodollar. This is huge. But between them two, who is going to win? Now, what's funny is that India and China, they clash along this disputed Himalayan border region. This area is called the Contested Line of Actual Control, LAC. Serves as a buffer between India and China. So who will win? Well, the end game, of course, is numbers. To them, numbers win. And not coincidentally, it's two of the biggest gold buyers in recent time. Post-Russia problems, post-Russia-Ukraine issues. Russia and India have been buying up gold like crazy. And who is going to win? India's defense minister said, after clashes with the Chinese, he said they encroached into Indian territory and unilaterally tried to change the status quo. Is this China expanding onto Indian territory? Well, maybe. So here's a map of it. This is the line of actual control. This is in the area of Tibet. So pretty crazy. Last June, 20 Indian soldiers and who knows how many Chinese were actually killed because they had a bloody brawl. Okay. So the Chinese and India, I mean, obviously it's not the people, it's the government. Of course, some argue that Chinese shouldn't even be in Tibet to begin with, right? Here's one video. I mean, these guys are serious. I'm guessing the Chinese government is pushing for their soldiers to kind of test the limits. Test the limits. This guy puts it on Twitter, Dr. Jitendra Nagar, giving a big salute to the Indian army. So all joking aside, India looks like it's going to beat China. How so, right? Well, for years actually, India has been on track to overtake China as the world's most populous country. Now, they're looking to compete, of course. Siding with Russia, they claim to be neutral, but nonetheless, joining with Russia. On top of that, they're consuming some of the highest rates of gold. People are getting a little shaky holding on to the US petrodollar, the world reserve currency at the moment. So the phenomenon of the Indian population is actually because they were supposed to overtake China in the next decade, but that's going to happen a lot sooner now. And this could actually happen as soon as next year, which is nuts, absolutely nuts. So this is via Visual Capitalist provided up-to-date chart of China's population growth. This is pretty nuts. The projection data from Our World in Data ranges from 1800 all the way into 2100, the year 2100. Now here is the crossroad. Check out the chart. This is the projections from 2022 onwards, right? So it has it at 2023. That's the crossroads where India overtakes China. And they estimate that India's population is expected to plateau around 2063, reaching close to 1.7 billion people. Whoa, that's massive. And China, on the other hand, China as the world's current most populous country, it's supposed to be reaching 1.42 billion people. That is massive. And then down here you can see Nigeria and then Pakistan, Congo. So some African countries are third and fifth. So for a little context, now China has actually dominated the world population for over 3 centuries. Massive. It's had the largest world population of any country ever in the world for 300 years. As far as we know, it could actually be even longer. In the 1800s, China's population was about 322 million. At that time, it was actually double India's population, which is crazy. And the population in China exploded after the 50s. This happened after the Chinese Civil War when the People's Republic of China was established. Around the same time, the population also started to increase, but both were kind of increasing at the same rate. So China kept its position as the world's most populous country. Now, why is China losing? Well, many suspect it's actually because of the one-child policy. So by the late 70s, the Chinese government implemented the one-child policy to attempt to slow down the births, okay? They were afraid of overpopulation and, of course, not being able to meet the food and energy needs of the populace. The plan worked, and according to China's National Health and Family Planning Commission, Mao Quanan, government's effort ended up reducing the potential births reduced by around 400 million, almost 500 million. So imagine that. The Chinese population could actually be close to 2 billion people right now. How else is India winning? Well, by 2040, the population in China, almost 28% of the country's population will be over the age of 60. So they will be an aging population. Now, in contrast that with India, okay, India is going to be relatively young. Half the population is under 30, which is crazy. And only an eighth is over 60. Now, it could be for different reasons, obviously. Diets, lifestyle, not healthy, etc. They may not live as long, but this is a big indicator of who is going to win the population wars. Now, more money talk. Does this mean that India's GDP, will they make more money than China? Not necessarily, right? The reason why is China's number 2 right now. Hard spot to beat. And India actually only has a labor participation rate of roughly 50%, 46%, which is really low. In China, that's roughly 68%. So you're looking at, more or less 50% versus 70%. Big difference. And China's number 2 on the world stage. Massive advantage. So eventually, will China get more aggressive in the LAC? Well, hopefully not too aggressive. Hopefully they don't, get too violent with each other. But when it comes to population, India wins big, real big, by the billions. So we'll see what happens with the birth rate. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Smash the like if you haven't. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Can anybody out there hear me?